Perfectly Imperfect Mommying with Nurse Annette and Ashley Collins. Whether you just found out you're pregnant or a mom of multiples, tune in as we dissect the challenges, face the fears, and embrace the crazy moments of mommying that'll make it all worth it. Here are your hosts, Nurse Annette and Ashley Collins.
Hi everyone, welcome to our next episode of Perfectly Imperfect Momming. I'm Ashley Collins.
And I'm Nurse Annette.
And we are here today to talk about trends in laboring. What does that mean, Annette?
Oh, throughout time, there's been different trends in laboring. There's been trends of having a baby, natural, no assistance, or the caveman way, knock the woman out or whatever with a stick. Trends of delivering at home versus delivering at a hospital, devices that are used. Pain management ways. So there's trends all the way through history, especially in the last couple centuries, that have changed labor for the better. Thank you.
Hopefully for the better, because when you say devices, I'm a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Although I did do some research on this topic.
It's a great topic to research.
And I found that women back in the 30s and 40s would get gas masks.
Literally.
To knock themselves out and have a baby.
Right. So they used nitrous back then, and in a higher dose than what is used nowadays. So some places offer nitrous, and back then, literally, the woman would go to sleep and wake up holding a baby.
Well, is it like coming out naturally, or are they getting C-sections?
Nope. If you're comfortable enough, for the most part, you can labor down, and then they would just grab those forceps and rip those babies out.
Oh my God.
So it was not the gentle type of birth that we try to do now with it. With forceps and such, but
does the baby come out gassed up too, or is this...
I don't know for sure how much affected the baby back then. They hadn't started the research. They knew that moms and babies were coming out, and that's where a whole other episode where our ABGAR score came from is because they were trying to figure out how much really affected the mom and the baby, right? So, but yeah, the babies would come out not doing so well sometimes, and they would have cranial damage from the forceps because they weren't so gentle and there were not standards of care at that time. I mean, if you look at labor as over history, back late early 1900s, we were having 1 out of 8 women die and children. So the mortality rate, about 60% total between moms and babies, that's pretty horrible.
That's pretty high.
I mean, you would get pregnant and not know if you were going to survive. That was, and the miscarriage losses, just everything all the way around, it was not uncommon.
Wow.
For them to lose multiple babies.
Wow. Okay. So I'm glad that technology and trends are the way they are today.
Right?
But yeah, I came across something a little disturbing.
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
It's from 1965. There was a strange invention that was patented, and it was childbirth by centrifugal force.
Yes.
For those who can see us in this podcast, there's a strange device here where mommy is strapped down, spun 7 Gs, which is like jet speed, I think. And the baby will find its way out through the force of centrifugal force.
But don't worry.
And a net would catch it. Not this Annette.
Right.
A net.
A net. Don't worry. They've got a net there.
It's a little disturbing. And in the early 2000s, somebody made a replica of this device.
It was like, was it Finland? I can't remember.
Dublin's science. So the Irish got brave.
Yeah.
Anybody want to volunteer to be spun and have their baby spun out of them? 7 Gs. This is, yes.
All I can say is, as the nurse in that delivery, I sure hope I have a hazmat suit on.
Right, or
Because
a
there are
huge baseball
going
glove.
everywhere.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't even think about the fluids. Oh, okay, all right.
There's a whole other thing involved with this. This is,
This brings could I poop during labor to a whole different level too. I mean,
right?
oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, so you want to hear where they got the idea from?
Yeah, let's
I don't
hear
know
it.
if you got more into that. So, and this kind of goes with the whole concept of why Nurse Annette is out there is misinformation, right? We wanted to provide more information, accurate information. Well, this comes from a misinformation. The couple who had never had children before were at the zoo, and they were watching an elephant who sat on its butt and spun around, okay? Asked the zookeeper, hey, why is the elephant doing that?
Spinning?
And the zookeeper says, oh, well, that's what they do just before they give birth. So voila, came an idea that they
Right.
could spin a baby out. I mean, apparently it was never made for trial or use.
Well,
And
it was
so-
in the
well,
early 2000s.
there we go.
So
Nobody would sign up for it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm guessing not.
So I don't know if it would actually work, but
that's a horrendous looking contraption that you're strapped down and they spin you.
Yeah, and it was actually patented, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. This is
And-
from the patent
yeah.
office. The drawing.
Yeah.
There's the net.
Yeah.
A net to catch the baby. I'm blown away by this.
And if I remember correctly, it even won an award, right?
Oh, for making.
Well, it was
it was like a Nobel Prize
Yes, a
award
Nobel
for
Prize.
making the most lack of
For-
sense or something
yeah,
like that.
for
Yeah,
the-
making them laugh or something.
Making the science
Basically the
that
joke
makes it
of
laugh.
all the
Yeah.
awards, yes.
It was, it is one of the most amazing, thought out devices for labor yet.
Very, yes, very interesting. I'm glad I didn't have that option. So let's talk about some other trends that are happening today.
Okay.
That mommies are either researching about or interested in. Things that you're experiencing today. Like, for example, a lotus birth. I didn't even know what this was.
So, okay, and every time we talk about birth and talk about something that is important, just remember, in no way, shape, or form are we meaning to cause and hurt feelings, okay?
No judgment.
No judgment.
We're just having the conversation.
It just is maybe something that to us is not something we would do. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong for somebody else.
Right, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So that is a trend that has finally came back, and we've realized is allowing the mother to have some input in the delivery and what she's got going on. So a lotus birth is delivering the placenta and then keeping the placenta attached. Normally we cut that umbilical cord at about 60 seconds, give or take, depending
before
on
the
situation.
placenta's out.
Before the placenta. And then we let the placenta come out from the mother. We do it as naturally as we can. Every once in a while, there needs a little bit of help. But for the most part, placentas deliver easily.
Okay.
And then they've left it attached. Then they keep it until it naturally falls off. Umbilical cords take a little while.
I was going to say, I think the belly button part falls off after like a week, right?
So it can be up to 2 to 3 weeks sometimes.
Isn't it decaying and
My personal
smelling?
opinion, and if you look up lotus birth online, I'm sure there's a whole lot of somebody that says it's good for this or that. But I have smelt rotting flesh before, and I just imagine that it would smell bad. And all the lotus birth pictures that I usually see have like flowers in it and herbs on it, and I'm sure it's to help mask that smell. But I don't know. I've never really participated in a lotus birth, and that's somebody's personal choice. I just imagine, and hey, let me know if it really doesn't smell. Let us know. Leave us a comment, because
leave us a comment for sure. Because that's an interesting one. I've never heard of anybody. I've heard of getting the cord blood out from the umbilical cord. Isn't that how that's done for cord blood?
That's what they'll do.
Yeah,
is they'll take a sample of that.
Yeah, and then they store that for future.
Yeah.
But I've heard of that, but never keeping it attached.
Right.
That's an
Oh, you're
interesting...
talking about cord blood banking
Yes,
for the future. Okay,
yeah.
yes, that's another trend too.
Yeah.
It's a kind of an expensive trend that can happen because you're going to store this cord blood. In the case that your baby might need the cells for later, just because they
and
are...
I've researched it. It's typically like $125 a month for storage.
With a substantial upfront fee.
Right.
And some of those companies don't even guarantee that you're going to get those cells that were yours. You might get somebody else's.
Oh, well, then what's the point?
Having the option, I guess. So...
I mean, you need that for your own baby if something happened. That's a little...
Yeah.
that's a
well,
little
and
unnerving.
if if you're going to store it for 25 years or whatever, it can take a while and it can be very costly. So, I mean, do I see harm in it? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think it could be awesome if you can afford it, but is it practical for you and your family? That's only something you can decide.
Yeah.
So,
so this is another interesting one is the labor pains for men and men wearing the... What are they called? The mommy bellies?
Oh, the mommy bellies. Yes, the belly suit.
Belly suit.
Yes. So,
hey, hubby, want to wear this?
Right?
Yes.
This is very popular.
I actually wish my husband would have worn it for a little while so he could have experienced, because at the end, my second baby was 10 pounds, 6 ounces. Yes.
Ouch.
I'm not winning any
I'm
awards
so
for that either. But,
I'm so sorry.
Yes. He's the biggest baby born in my family, so apparently I hold the record for that.
Woohoo!
Used to be my mom with my little brother was 10.3, so I beat him by three ounces. Anyway, it was very hard to get off the couch.
Right.
When I had to roll over, he would have to push me up and help me up, and it was just very
you're not
heavy,
alone.
very heavy feeling, very hard.
Yeah.
So it is kind of cool to let the guy experience it a little bit.
So basically, what it is it mimics the breast weight. And
it's filled with liquid, isn't it?
Yep, and it's got liquid in it.
Oh my.
And the tummy weight. So I think that they average anywhere from like 40 to 60 pounds, depending on the suit that you're wearing. And the man puts it on, and it pulls the weight, because when you're pregnant, all the weight is being pulled, and your back is uncomfortable. Now, it doesn't mimic the abdominal ligaments that stretching and stuff that cause the pain. But they're supposed to try to do normal activities. I mean, I remember washing dishes when I was pregnant, and I always knew when I was getting closer to my due date or whatever, because I couldn't reach the sink.
You had to get further and further away.
I had to do the whole bend over kind of thing, and it was like, just the little tasks.
I remember just dropping something. I'm like,
it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Nope.
It can wait.
Somebody else will grab it on their way up the stairs.
The simplest things, and this is something that I've had many moms tell me, and I remember it too. What about wiping your butt?
I mean, it's a challenge.
Yeah, and that was, so here's all that experience that they can have. Last month of pregnancy is when I hear about it.
So daddies, keep those belly suits on when you have to go to the bathroom too, because you got to get the full experience.
And then the contraction stimulator.
Yeah, the electrocuting themselves. What's this?
Yeah, so it's a device that they'll put on, and it's like a TENS unit, which is an electrostimulation device. And what I love is usually I see this one going on after the mommy has the baby, because they want them to experience. And the videos I've watched of it is
it
hysterical.
the mom actually doing it?
Yes,
too?
yes. And so they're timing it.
All right.
Okay, so they're starting to get stronger. And contractions, really a contraction, we want it to be like 45 seconds to just under 2 minutes.
Okay.
And so that's the length of time, with it getting stronger and stronger, coming about every 2.5, 3.5 minutes, right? We're trying to get to that. And so these dads, and it is hysterical. And you know what? Okay, so after I had my first one was my unmedicated one.
Ooh.
Did
you learn from that one? And you're like, never again?
Other 3, I had some good drugs.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own choice, right?
Right.
No awards for anything. Anyway, my husband had a horrible ingrown toenail.
Oh, goodness.
A horrible ingrown toenail. And he had to go get surgery on it. I am holding this little, I don't know, my son probably was 8 weeks at the time, 9 weeks, right through there. Not very big, but big enough that I'm in the room with him and I'm laughing as they're giving him the shots and he's like in excruciating pain. And I'm like, yes. It was horrible, you know.
It's like when your husband is sick and you're like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I was very insensitive to his needs at the time because he was much more sensitive to mine. But I just couldn't help myself. I was just like, more.
Like, can I do that?
Yes.
Let me
My
take
turn.
over.
Yes. Yeah.
So we also see things like free births. As a nurse, what is your opinion on a free birth and unassisted birth?
You know, for the most part, we were designed to have babies, right?
Right.
Many babies come out very easily, okay? But it's like anything else. It's like, why do you wear a seatbelt?
Right.
Why do you put your
Just in
kids in the
case.
car seat?
Just in case.
Why do you baby-proof the house?
Yeah.
It's safety. So
this is saying there's no medical presence.
Nope.
The parents are committed to the concept and may forego checkups or scans during pregnancy.
So I've heard of free births being perfect and having no complications. When I was a NICU nurse, unfortunately, I do have a memory of a free birth going bad.
Oh.
And the baby came in and did not passed, you know, but that's like one situation. And so, but it's that one situation. Yeah,
that
that's
makes
why I
it
wear the
worth.
seatbelt.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you strap those kids in the car seat and fight them?
Exactly.
So it's a trend, and you know, women have done it since the beginning of time, really, free birthing. But we know more now. I mean, why is our birth rate so much better? Our mortality rate has decreased so significantly, and that's the reason why.
So the next one is a little bit more intimate.
Yes.
It's
Move those
orgasmic
kitties away.
birthing. Tell us what that is.
Yes. Oh, every nurse's favorite type of birth. Okay, so the idea is you get the babies here in the way that you conceived them. So what's good to get them in is good to get them out. So the concept behind this is that an orgasm can overcome the pain. Okay. So when you're having an orgasm through sex,
it's like when you're told, you know, dad needs to do the work to help you get moving along. Okay.
So usually the women will bring in a vibrator with them and will stimulate clitoral stimulation during the contractions. And I mean, I didn't try it, so I don't know how much I can knock it.
But it's trending. It's
trending, yeah.
So,
I mean, I've done a couple myself with women, and
is it a public affair, or this is like an intimate moment with husband?
So of course, the couple I've done, one was just mommy and daddy, and that was a little awkward for me as the nurse. I mean, I did it. And I did it very straight-faced, believe it or not, very straight-faced. It was
well, I mean, you're a professional, so
right.
You know.
And then the other one, on the other hand, the daddy was just staring at the mommy and watching, you know, kind of awkward. And that was awkward, but it was the grandparents sitting on the couch that was a little bit more for me. You know, grandpa's. Her dad is sitting there and reading his book, and her mom, and if I remember correctly, it was his mom also. So your mother-in-law is sitting there as you are.
It's a family affair.
Yeah, so that was a little awkward, but
you know, I mean,
it worked for him.
If you're brave enough to do, you know, get it, girl.
Yep.
Because you know, mom ain't easy even at that point. And I know,
not.
For me, I got to the point where I'm like, get this baby out of me. So I might have just tuned them out.
Yeah. If I will tell you honestly, with my medicated one, if I had been told if you do this, it'd pop a baby out
I
just like
would've
that.
done it.
I would have done it.
I would have done it.
I mean, I do have some words that came out of my mouth during that time.
Yeah.
I do remember yelling, cut him out, I don't care, cut him out.
I mean, I have very few contractions that I remember because I got the epidural pretty quick along in my processes. But yeah, just that alone. Nope, don't like this because I'm a big baby and I don't take pain very well.
Most women don't.
I probably would have done anything. I mean, I was 10 days over with my second baby, which should not happen. So ladies, if you are having a baby and your baby is just not coming out and you need to light a fire up under that baby, don't take no for an answer. Tell them I need to get this baby out of me because that was not healthy. There was meconium or whatever it's called in there.
Yeah, we try really hard to not go.
And he could have, had some significant issues because of that. So, but yeah, I was 10 days over, and that's why he was so big, and it was so uncomfortable. And so I bet you, if I had a vibrator at the moment, I probably would have done the same thing. So
you would have used it.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew about that trend.
Yep.
Probably would have been in my to-go bag.
And we're not knocking any of them.
Not knocking it.
For you.
Get it, girl. Whatever works and getting that baby out. I get it. Get it out.
We're with you.
So here's another thing. This kind of goes along with the free births, but eating the placenta.
Okay, so and that's a whole very controversial thing. Okay, so there is not documented, reputable evidence that shows the benefits of eating it. Not to say that there are not articles out there and there's not the peer review behind it, but there is a huge following for that. The reason why they're wanting to eat it is some people believe it helps with postpartum depression. People believe it helps with anemia. So that's the reason why. Now, they're eating it in a couple of different forms. There's the good old fry it up like a steak and have it for dinner, or eat it raw, whatever you want to do, put it in a blender, that sort of thing.
I've heard of the milkshake kind of thing,
or
the juicers.
I mean...
And then the husband will drink it too.
Yeah.
I've seen something, I think it was like a reality show that the husband drank the thing too.
It's a whole different bonding experience, in my opinion. But
do you think maybe it's more of a mind over matter thing? Like
probably.
If I do this, because it sounds very almost like Viking age, something that would have,
Yeah,
I don't, like
dumping the raw eggs in, doing the Rocky thing,
right?
Chugging them down. Yeah, it might be. But that's the reason behind it. The other way, the most common way, is placenta encapsulation. They wash it, they boil it, and then they dry it. And then they crush it up and put it in these little capsules. And then the mom takes them over
a period of time.
Yeah, a period of time.
Hey, I just got a Ninja Foodie. I think it's like a dehydrator. Just slap that baby in there and away we go.
Right.
It'd be like jerky, right?
Right, yes. And it's to each their own. The drawbacks of that is there has been cases reported where the mother had an infection that passed on through the placenta, and encapsulating it, she ingested it, and then it passed through the breast milk and then got the baby sick.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, but I know that's a rarity.
But do your research.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, a lot of these that are done are in people's kitchens.
Oh.
And...
Yeah.
It may be not. So just look into it very carefully with it. So
yeah, you don't want to do anything that's going to harm you or the baby for sure.
No.
So, all right. The last thing that I want to talk about is the wireless monitoring feature that we have in the hospital, because that's the latest trend.
Yeah, and this actually helps with other latest trends that we have going on. So wireless monitoring is a little device that we put on the mommy's tummy. And historically, monitoring or continuous fetal monitoring started in the 80s real significantly, where this really started being used on a regular basis. And we strap the monitoring devices to the mom, one for contraction, one for baby heart rate, and then we connect it to the monitor. And that allows the nurse to monitor the baby. And
that's your paper feed coming out,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And then the mom's kind of stuck there in bed. And there's been devices that, I remember one of them, we hung it around the neck and she carried it with her, and then it went wirelessly. And the mom would stand up and we would get this weird funky thing and the baby would come off, because if you've been strapped to those monitors, you know that baby moves and the nurse needs to come in and adjust it and stuff. So the wireless monitor is set up so that it's kind of like an EKG.
Okay.
And so we put it on with like stickers, and it has a little battery pack, and it picks up maternal contractions, maternal heart rate, and baby's heart rate. And we can watch it on the board. Now, it works for the majority of the patients, but it doesn't work for them all. Just like anything else, it's not 100% across the board.
Disclaimer,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So, but it's allowed. I did a wireless monitoring birth with a mom not that long ago who was very open. She had had the first delivery where she had had a vacuum delivery because the baby just wouldn't come down, and the baby had been looking up rather than looking down.
Right.
And so was very miserable. But with the wireless monitoring, I was able to use some yoga type techniques to help that baby get into better position. And this mom was a trooper and did it all.
Yeah.
And
Because she could get up and do all
She
that.
could.
And you can walk around and you're not carrying anything with
she's
you.
doing yoga. Or we've had
Nice.
moms bouncing on the ball,
Yeah.
or just even getting out of bed, but repositioning. It's great for those that are using positioning for pain control.
Okay.
And so it is awesome. Like I said, it doesn't work for every situation, and we have a limited supply just because they're so costly.
Right.
And we don't use them for everybody because it isn't always the optimal device for monitoring. If we've got different situations, it may not be right for the baby because it does have a slight delay for the heart
Okay.
for the heart rate and contraction pattern that the nurse sees.
Okay.
And so sometimes if we want super accuracy, we're not going to use it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it is one of the more awesome things that I have to say right now that allows me as a nurse to keep eyes on everything I need to, but lets that mom move around.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Yeah.
So that concludes our episode on trends in childbirthing.
Yes, I hope you learned something.
Yeah, I hope you learned something. And, no matter what trend you're into or you love, it's all your experience. So, all right, everybody, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
All
Until
right.
next time.
Until next
Leave
time.
those questions and comments and watch us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Perfectly Imperfect Mommying. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, share with all your mommy friends, and most importantly, leave your questions or comments. Till next time.